welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. I'd like to start with something funny. I came across these one-liners for pondering. If there's no God, who pops up the next Kleenex in the box? Just before someone gets nervous, do they experience cocoons in their stomach? The best advice for teenagers is leave home now while you still know everything. This is the second segment with Andrew and continuing our discussion from part one. In the 1970s, Andrew Bozeman, Reverend Andrew Bozeman, was an award-winning advertising copywriter and producer for such clients as McDonald's, Budweiser Beer, and Coca-Cola. In the 1980s, he was introduced to PCs, taught himself programming, and became a consultant. In the 1990s, he became the project director of technology training for the city and county of San Francisco, where he was responsible for overseeing the technology training for the city's 30,000 employees. Now, at the age 70, he looks forward with excitement to a new phase of high activity in his life. He was ordained as a minister in 1982. In 1990, he became a senior minister of the Church of Amron in San Francisco, a metaphysical ministry which promoted the principle that all religions are true that when practiced in their purity. He left the church in 2001 and retired from the city to take his ministry to the streets. He then founded the Southeast Sector Community Development Corporation. It's SESCDC, a nonprofit corporation in San Francisco's Bayview Hunters Point, where he is a community activist working on behalf of an economically depressed and environmentally exploited minority citizens and raising the awareness of New Thought spiritual teachings. In 2009, he founded Bozeman Development Group, a for-profit company to augment his nonprofit and dedicated to merging spiritual empowerment with economic development. Bozeman Development Group is an African-American publishing and multimedia production company dedicated to the spiritual, psychological, and economic elevation of more than 40 million African Americans living in the United States of America. His objective is to create and market products designed to support African Americans in eliminating the negative effects of racism, elevating self-esteem, generating entrepreneurial endeavors, rebuilding African American communities, building and promoting African American commercial centers to revitalize the African American economy and improving their quality of life. I think the most important thing is to have that unconditional love within yourself, because when you have that true unconditional love, which means stopping judgment, stopping criticizing, the criticism, when you have that for yourself, then you can have it for others.
Yes.
So it starts within yourself, your own heart, your own mind, and your body. It's when you have that, which I think is an evolutionary process anyway, because of the way, media, because of the way you're raised, it's like letting go of all that stuff that doesn't work anymore, all that negative, pre-programming, etc. But when you can let go of that and really focus on that, as I say, my higher self, then you can feel that and talk and speak that and see that in other people.
Well, what makes it a little simpler getting the message across now is there have been a number of scientific studies dealing with excess death in the African American community.
You said excess death.
Excess death is, the actuaries can predict how many people are going to die based upon.
Right.
Well, what they're finding is that in the African American community, the death rate is higher than it's supposed to be, than it should be. And the infant mortality rate is 3 times as high in the African American community than it is in the white community.
And why is that?
So they were trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so what they finally come down to understanding is that the pain of racism, of being a target of racism, the tension and
Oh,
stress
gosh.
that is always there.
Wow.
So the cortisol is always
Yes.
pumping,
Yes.
and because of that, it's beginning to burn out the bodies, the
Totally
human,
makes
the
sense.
organs, and it has the effect on the placenta, the womb,
Yes.
and it causes the children to come out with low birth weight, and many of them die within the first year. So, because of this finding, now you know science is really coming in to help
Oh,
us here.
finally, they're finally acknowledging that there's a God.
Exactly.
Finally, they don't call it God.
Consciousness is fine. So part of this is I think there's a certain aspect of shame involved. The shame at being looked down upon has the effect of taking you into a level of stress. So forgiving yourself for even reacting to this stuff
Amen. Oh my God, amen
is
to
important.
that.
So let's forgive ourselves for even letting ourselves being unaffected by
Yes,
this, because it has nothing to do with us.
Oh, Andrew, that is so important, what you just said. That is the most important thing, to get past this crisis that is happening.
Yeah. Forgiving yourself, and once you can forgive yourself, then you can forgive others.
Absolutely. It's that unconditional love.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding that all this hate and racism is based on fear. For some reason, they are afraid of us. And you know, I've been doing a lot of history studying history, and finding out that because of the oppression that was going on back in the days of slavery, even though there's no record of it publicly, they're finding out that there were over 150 slave revolts, and a lot of people got killed, but they covered up the whole thing so that the slaves wouldn't know about it.
Oh.
But it happened, and it happened over and over again, and that's the basis for a lot of fear, because it's like we mistreated these people. We know that they're going to come out and kill us if they can.
Okay, I'm glad you're talking about this, and it's like you said, the forgiveness piece.
Yeah.
Forgiving.
Letting it go. The amount of energy that you release by forgiving is absolutely incredible. Timeline therapy. There was for a while there back in the 90s, you know, we had so many different therapies, and one was timeline therapy, in which they would take you into an altered consciousness state, and you go back over your timeline, your life, and those incidents that caused pain and anger, they would show up as a bright red spot. And the training was to take you back to that, to look at it in a different way, to release all that red energy, and you could actually feel the surge in your body as you release that energy that was way back there many years ago that you don't have available anymore.
Yeah. And don't you think it's really important to acknowledge, and this is one thing I teach and talk about, is releasing it out of your body. That's why I think it's so important to write. You know, I do the forgiveness exercise, you know, the 70 times 7. I've done that 4 times in my life because I want to get it out. I don't want to hold on to any of that. Right. So it's important to get it out of your body.
The body has memory.
Yes,
you know,
everything.
We think it's all in the brain, but it's in every cell of your body.
We're all connected. It's all one. It's all one.
So yes, you definitely have to get it out. You have to release it out of the cellular structure.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I have said in my own growth is I want to know this on a cellular level.
Exactly.
And that's what I think that, you know, everybody needs to focus on a cellular level so we can be free to be happy and prosperous and abundant.
And healthy.
And healthy, yes. I mean, that covers all of that. Healthy, yes. Yes. So that's wonderful. So what's, you know, how can we help take it to the next level?
Just by being open, you know, there really isn't necessary to do anything quote unquote special. You know, it's a matter of being open and free of, or freeing yourself of the things that hold you back. We all have some prejudice about something,
Yes.
and when you feel it come up, be aware of it. Something we call self-observation. Observe yourself, get a handle on the fact that this is happening. And once you begin to look at yourself and see the things that you're doing to yourself, then they begin to dissipate.
Yeah. I know one thing that I have one prejudice, and I'm not going to say it, but what I've done, well, I can admit it because I'm working through it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had one prejudice, and I decided I would immerse myself, because it's all around us. I would immerse myself in that, and it does help because
Yeah.
I'm getting a deeper understanding. When you can understand something, it's so much easier to let go.
That's right.
So, and getting back to the awareness around wealth in the African American society, or what you're working with, is how can we? I mean, it goes so deep, really.
It does.
It goes. I mean, that's why I said that unconditional love, the forgiveness piece, because when you're there, then you automatically feel wealthy when you get past all those blocks. So wealth becomes easier. Wealth. I mean, here in Marin, we have all wealth everywhere.
Oh,
it
we
isn't
do.
just money. We live in a paradise. So
Yes, we do.
it goes on every level.
Well, I think one of the things that has to happen that I'm working on is that there has to be what I call own, control, and create, which is
You said own, control, and create.
Yeah, which is to revitalize the business base foundation within the African American community, because it's not there.
You mean just entrepreneurship?
Yeah,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, and also a trust factor, because there's been so much negative stuff on black people. There's a certain belief factor that we're not to be trusted, and there's a certain belief factor that you can't trust each other. So businesses don't have much of a chance to succeed because nobody wants to deal with them because they don't trust them. So there's so many levels to deal with. But yeah, there are a number of people working on rebuilding the business base in the African American community where we can employ our own people. Because when you go out into the general population, they've done tests and experiments and found that when you send out black people and white people for the same job with the same resumes, white applicants with criminal records get jobs faster than black people with the same experience and no criminal record.
That is still happening.
Oh yeah, it's still happening. So what has to happen is that within the community, we've got to rebuild the African American community economic structure. Yeah. Once that begins to happen, and as I see it, there is so much creativity and so many great ideas coming out of that. Many of them get stolen, so we've got to finance them ourselves.
Yeah.
But what will happen once you've got the security, the prosperity, et cetera, is that all the people in the world will begin to come there. Will become a destination rather than this place that's way out there.
Well, I see it as we all work together. That's what it's all about, is working together, no matter what culture you come from. That's what it's all about. As long as we have the same, mental approach. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but to have that freedom of trust, forgiveness, and then you trust. It's all integral.
Oh yeah, but it's got to, because of the society we're in, which is totally materialistic. You've got to touch the society where its heart beats, which is in the money.
Yep.
And when I was in advertising, I was worked on the Ancola campaign, and my creative director said, racism will go away once we find that it's economically feasible.
Wow.
to make it happen.
Wow.
And I agree with him.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to
Well,
do
that's
now,
good.
is make it economically
good.
feasible.
That's good
feasible.
because it isn't just the African American community that are feeling it. It's everybody.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
Everybody. Now maybe the top 3% who have the lion's share, the 97% of the money,
Yes.
are not feeling it as much. I know they've been feeling it, but it's on a different level, of course, but it's like, wake up, wake up, wake
Yeah,
up.
because it's going to affect them eventually.
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
Well, it is affecting them, but it's just, little compared to what the other 97% are feeling,
Yeah, but
So-
if our world dies, they got to go with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I totally applaud you for doing what you're doing and having the sustainability to keep on keeping on,
Thank you.
because it's so important for everybody. I look at it, we're all one, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so important for all cultures, and especially for the African American culture, and especially in this area. I mean, all over the world, and
Yeah.
especially in Africa. I mean, my heart bleeds for what's going on over there. It's really tragic.
Yes, it is.
It's tragic, and I know and I know, like for myself in the show, or not for me, but for us all, it's you start local and then you go,
Yes.
you got to
expand.
expand from there.
And there is beginning to be some communication and relationship building between Africa, the African communities, the African continent, and the African American community. It's very, very
How is
minuscule at this point.
Yeah. How is that unfolding?
Well, it's unfolding in that there are a number of business people conducting missions to go over to Africa to see if we can figure out ways to make money together. Right now, there's a certain level of suspicion that those Americans, all they want to do is take the money, come in and exploit you.
Oh, wow.
So we've got to get over that hump. But what is happening is there's a conglomerate or a congregation or legion or affiliation of African nations who are discussing now the possibility of dual citizenship for the African American community, as we get into this now DNA discovering what part of the world you came from.
Right.
The possibility that through dual citizenship, some form of dual citizenship, you can begin to lock into the culture of the country from which you originated and begin to build some understanding, because there's such a wide gap between American blacks and African blacks because of the way the whole thing has been set up.
I just something just came through my mind.
What's that?
As that, I wonder if on the big picture of things, on a spiritual level, if the Africa is having, a majority of Africa is having such a tragic time now, financially, and all, just the thievery, everything that goes on. I'm just wondering if that is, Spirit's way to bring attention to that, so we can all, because I know that I have African American in my blood somewhere down the line, back, how far back I don't know, but it's like, for us to recognize where we came from.
Yes.
And I think it only costs $100 with your to get your DNA to find out where you're actually from, because
150.
the first, yeah, and it's a way to because we're all from there originally.
Yes, we are.
That's where the first human being was.
That's right.
Created. So I think it's a way to see, and it comes through money. See that. Wake up. Wake up. So I just really got that, because I haven't done that, but I think mine was North Africa, but I don't know for sure. I need to. I want to do this. I haven't done this, just so I know, so we know.
Yeah, it'll help tie us all back together. to
But all
see
this,
that we're
all this,
all related.
yes, and you know, which so hard is that there's so much crisis that has to happen for people to wake up. That's the part.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean,
that's how it has to happen.
wow.
That's what we are as human beings. We're crisis oriented, and if we're comfortable, then there's no place we want to go.
Well, we never want to be totally comfortable all the time, because then you don't grow, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's right. But the only way you
that
grow
rub,
is through some kind
like,
of crisis.
Like Michael Beckwith says, is the rub.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say the oyster with the pearl. We're
Yeah,
all,
exactly.
So, but it's like, it goes to an extreme, especially here in the United States. There's such sensationalism, which I don't think is always appropriate.
No, it's sort of a distraction, actually.
It is, because we need to get down to the root, because we are all one, no matter who you are. I mean, even Charles Manson, who is evil, has good in him. He just doesn't know it.
Right.
And he abused it,
right.
and he's abused himself. So, we all have a choice to make to do the right things, or to do the best thing that's best for yourself and humanity.
Express our highest self.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what this show is about. And applying it to, wealth and currency, because that, money is power, but, if, like you said, if we don't forgive, then we can't be free.
Yeah, you got to let it go.
So,
to move forward.
Yeah, and so I'm just, I'm so happy that, we could have this conversation, because I think it's so important. Because I like to get down to the root of things, so people can understand. See, that understanding piece.
Yeah.
Where does this really come from? Why is this happening? And what can we do? And it's awareness. If we can elevate our awareness, then that's the first step. And then acceptance, awareness, acceptance, maybe, whatever order you want to say. But, when you have that understanding, it's so much easier to have compassion. It
is, yes. And compassion is love.
Absolutely. Unconditional love.
Yeah. Compassion is love.
Well, we're coming to a close already.
Oh, okay.
And I would love for you to, if you have any words of wisdom that you can share with the viewers, I would love to hear it. Wow. And you can have a few moments if you like to think about it. But I think it's important, because you have a lot of contribution that you have, that you've done and what you're doing. And I want people to hear you.
Thank you. I did a video. I did 3 times a week. I post a video. It's called 1 Minute on the Path. And as it turns out, today's video was from Neil Donald Walsh's book, As Happy as God. And the message that comes through very strongly is that we are all one. We are all one. And that we've got to spread that energy among more than just ourselves. Because we're all energy, therefore the energy has to keep moving, it has to keep spreading. And if we allow ourselves to spread, if we allow ourselves to open, then that energy is going to grow and become more powerful. What happens when you're dealing with bias and you're dealing with anger is that it shuts you down.
Yes.
And in the shutting you down, what it does is it freezes the energy, and it can actually make you sick, because when it comes back upon you, it's very hot, it burns. In doing hands-on healing work, when people I found who are going through a lot of stress, their aura, the feel of their aura is so prickly. It's like Velcro. So in order to get people to release, what begins to happen is things begin to smooth out, and the energy, the coloring of it, and the feel of it is so warm and loving. And that's what the basis of it all is. It's love, it's love, it's
Yes,
love.
love, 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 love. Not enough. Yes,
And if
more,
we can only
more.
connect with the love,
Yes.
then so much begins to change, so much begins to happen. And it's very lightening. You know, you talk about enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Yes.
lightening. It's like being buoyant.
Yes.
You feel almost like a balloon. You're floating
Right.
as love fills you, because it is actually an energy, and you can actually feel it
Yes.
filling you up and lifting you up.
Yes.
And the sensation of feeling love as it wraps around you and fills you up is just indescribable.
Yeah.
So be open to love, be open to, what is it, unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
But it's
Yes.
got to start with you.
Yes.
Look in the mirror, as Louis Hay used to say, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, and then repeat it to yourself at least 300 times a day. I love myself.
I say, whenever I'm doing a talk, is write it on your mirror.
Okay.
And leave it there at least 28 days, at least.
And read it.
And read it. Yes, I put it on the refrigerator, put it in your car, put it on your desk, put it everywhere that you can see it. Multiple, 300 times, that's a lot. But when you think, we think, what's at least 60,000 words a day, that's nothing.
Exactly.
I love myself unconditionally. You know, but to
Exactly.
see it, then you're reading it. So put it everywhere.
Right.
And that's what it all comes down to, is
Exactly.
unconditional love.
That's it.
Amen.
That's the key.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you
Mama.
so much for being here. And never give up on your pursuit of your purpose and passion. And even if you don't know what that is, work with integrity and have a positive attitude. Wherever you are, work, and especially with your family and friends. Be grateful for what you have, who you are, and where you have come from. And be grateful for your freedom, and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and your body temple. And don't forget, keep moving your body by working out. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer, with unconditional love. And firstly, love yourself unconditionally, and share your abundance and wealth with others. Thanks for watching. Please support Marin TV that brings these messages. Remember, when fear knocks, let faith answer the door. We have a big favor to ask of you, of all of you viewers from Marin County. Can you please contact me to let me know who you are and what city you live in Marin County as a viewer? This is really important for the survival of our shows and our TV station. I will give you my email and my email address and phone number at the bottom of the screen and in the credits at the end of the show to reach me and to let me know. Thank you so much in advance for your efforts and cooperation. Bye for now. Until next time.